Hi, listeners. I'm popping into your feed before this week's episode to let you know that after recording, we decided to split this episode into two parts just for the length to kind of save you guys a little bit of time. It's a long episode. So, without further ado, this is going to be part one, and we will have part two ready for you next week. Enjoy this week's episode.
Oh,
Wow.
cool. Hey,
Oh,
wow. Good on you. You went for the giant Bud Light, eh?
that's what you said to do.
I know.
I did.
Yeah.
Like the size of my face.
Yeah, they are very big, and I started with some trusty brandy because I'm like
Ah.
I want to get something going a little bit before I jump right into the Bud Light. I'm not excited, but yeah.
See, that's why I started with it, because then if I drink something else later, I'll have a good time.
That's true. Yeah, and it will whatever you drink after that will only be
It'll only be
like
better.
way better. Yeah. It'll be so much better. I'm not sure.
It'll probably be melted popsicle with booze.
Yeah, mine's just sitting here. Oh, they break apart really easily though. Oh, that's kind of delightful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every time we've been having one this week, I've had Gabriel like put it in a cup for me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that, because it's like every time he's like, "Oh, do you want a popsicle?" I'm like, "Sure." And then I am like in the middle of doing something, and I'm like I can't eat it like right now.
Yeah.
Like he got me a popsicle the other night when I was playing Yakuza, because he really enjoys watching me play it. Because I just go around and like run into drunk people, and I'm like, "Oh, you ran into me. I'm gonna beat you up now." He's like, "You're just robbing all the drunkards for their money." I'm like, "Well, they shouldn't have gotten in my way."
The
So yeah.
classic, yeah, the classic like open world distraction thing.
Yeah.
It's the amount of times that I have been playing something like Grand Theft Auto or an Assassin's Creed game, and I remember what I was doing the last time I played. So I'm like, okay, it's time to jump into this. I'm going to get stuff done, immediately boot up the game, ready to go. And in the first like 2 seconds, I'm like, ooh, that car looks cool. I'm going to steal it. And then it leads me on a whole new thing. And like 3 hours later, I'm like, oh yeah, wasn't I gonna actually like progress the story of the game this time? And I'm like, fuck, I
Should
gotta
you
go to
do
bed.
something?
Yeah, I'm like, shouldn't I do something? I guess I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, every time it's been doing something like that, and I'm like, I can't eat a popsicle right now. I physically
Yes.
can't.
They are so damn refreshing.
They are very nice.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back
Welcome.
to this is our little show here, Peculiar Pairings podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. We appreciate your presence.
Hell yeah, we do. My name is Matt,
And I'm Celine.
and I want to start off this week just by saying, if it's been a while for our listeners, that's my bad. We've had some sort of technical difficulties. We're still in the middle of moving, even though it's been months. And Lily,
It never ends.
it really doesn't. But Lily got a fence for the yard of her beautiful new house, and it's been a long time. It's been like 2 months that we've been waiting, and the fence guys finally came a couple weeks ago, and it was just wild to see it actually going up. And it's one of those kinds of fences that sort of just goes together, like it's a bunch of sort of really strong plastic pieces that kind of go together like a puzzle piece. So what takes the most time is just like drilling all of the holes. And I was at work and Lily was at home, and she was watching Netflix or something, and they're almost done with the fence. And
Oh, they were close.
yeah, no, I think I took a picture of it. There were literally 3 posts left. They had all the holes dug, and they had 3 posts left to finish the entire fence. And Lily goes, "What the fuck? So all of a sudden Netflix stops and it's just like, the thinking circle of doom. And she's like, I mean, internet's been slow lately, but it's not this bad. Yeah. And she checks on her phone, she checks on her computer. She's like, everything's not working. What the hell? The modem is up.
Oh,
Yeah. She goes outside and she goes like, hey, by any chance, did you guys maybe clip the cable? And he's like, boy, I don't think so. We saw the flags and stuff. Well, if you go out there and look at it, where one of the corners of the fence is literally right on one of the flags that goes for the
oh
internet
my
cable.
God.
I mean, literally, like right
Right on
on
top
it.
of it.
My only real
Wow.
complaint about all this is like, this is your main business. As far as I know, you guys don't do any other work. It's your whole game is
Yeah.
fencing. Wouldn't you have encountered this before and like gone to the homeowner and been like, hey, I know we said it was going to be 100 feet or whatever. Just so you're aware, if it's all right, we're going to do 99 feet and like 10 inches or like 8 inches, because where the last post that we want to do is right where that flag is that all right with you? But no, they
Yeah.
just put it down. Yeah. And I'm like, how did you not know? Because even like the flags are essentially guesses. The technology isn't perfect for that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So there's always going to be a few inches of give here and there. You'd want to give yourself like a decent amount of space. But
Yeah.
yeah, long story short, we were without internet for about a week, and
Yep.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Little hard to record when you don't have internet, since that is how we record this. We don't live in the same place,
Right.
so we can't just go over to someone's house and be like, let me just set up everything. Here we go.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the first night that it was out, Lily had gone out of town. So I'm like, I'm just going to have a night to catch up on shows that like she and I don't watch
Aw.
together. Yeah. I'm like, this is going to be great. I'll just catch up on some stuff. And I started watching 2 episodes of season 3, I think it is, of What We Do in the Shadows on Hulu. And
Mm.
I'm on a family plan with Zach and Jenny, and Zach texts me within like 2 hours. Like I think I'm like halfway through the 3rd episode, and he's like, hey, are you using your Wi-Fi on your phone a lot? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he sent me a quoted text message from Verizon that says, hey, this line is almost out of wireless data. And I'm like, oh, great. Because I've done that
Oh.
before in the past with my phone. So when my internet was out for us to record, my first suggestion was going to be, well, I should be able to use my phone. And unfortunately, I used up all the data in one sitting. So that's fun.
This is why you gotta get unlimited data.
Well, so I technically have that, but it's the thing where they throttle it down to like 200
Oh,
megabytes.
yeah, they
Or not
slow it
megabytes.
down once
Yeah.
you reach a certain spot, and they're like, you don't deserve
Right. Exactly. Because yeah, when I
fast
first
data now. You're like, oh,
yeah.
cool. Like I'm paying for it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it kind of makes sense because back in the day when they originally offered the unlimited plans, they were pretty stupid expensive. A lot of people didn't get them, but it was also like 3G, and so a lot of people didn't really use their data. But when I first moved out on my own, my first year in my apartment, I just used my cell phone's Wi-Fi for all my internet access, and it worked well enough, so I got by. But apparently a lot of people started doing that, so they canceled everybody's contracts and they're like, we're not doing unlimited anymore. And then when they did bring back the
Yeah.
unlimited plans, they're like, okay, they're unlimited, but with a limit. And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, well,
it's I love when I get that text from AT&T and they're like, "Hey, you've used a lot of data. It's going to start slowing down." And I'm like, "I don't care."
yeah. I'm like, are you going to charge me anymore? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. Then I guess I'm just going to keep on going until it's
Cool.
gone.
I'm going to just keep going cuz this is what I pay for.
Yeah. Well, and
So.
apparently we have like different allotments for using the Wi-Fi hotspot versus just using your phone. And so when I realized that my phone ran out, I could still watch YouTube well enough. So I just sat home for like the whole weekend that Lily was gone, and I basically just played Tetris and listened to podcasts that I was streaming because I'm like, well, I can do this well enough, I guess.
That's a good way to go.
It worked out. I got a lot of Tetrising done. And
Yeah.
it was overall a productive weekend. Although I was really happy when she came back in the first day. Like the fence was almost ready to go still, and the internet guys finally came back, and I came home from work and she had Netflix playing, and I was just like, oh, thank God. Like, so taking the internet's back? The internet's back, right? She's like, yeah.
It's
I'm like,
back.
thank God.
Yes. Thank God.
Oh,
We have survived.
mhm.
We have made it.
Yeah. And then I finally finished that third episode of What We Do in the Shadows.
Well, there you go. You finally made it there. It took a while, but you got
It's
there.
It took a while, but I made it. I've crossed the desert and I've made it to the other side of internet hell.
Yes.
And now we're back.
Yeah.
So here we are.
And that brings us to today.
Yeah. So what is our story for this week?
So we are talking about 9/11 conspiracy theories, which, as I was thinking of just a list of different topics, I thought about this one from a camping trip I had in my youth years
no
ago.
kidding. Yeah.
I want to say it was
Camping
like
of all things.
my freshman year of high school, I want to
Oh,
say
wow.
something like that. It was either my freshman or sophomore year. My mom and stepdad, they do a camping trip like every Labor Day weekend. And it's like a whole thing. And like we've gone a few times before, so like this is like a normal thing for us at this point. And on this particular trip, one of the other people that was with us, I remember him saying to us, like, at the campfire one night, he just like leans over and he's like, 9/11's not real. And we're like, what?
Oh. I'll admit I was wondering how a camping trip sparked this, because I'm like, I thought you were gonna say like you took a trip to the East Coast or something.
No, we're camping in the woods in Colorado, and he just leans over and is like, 9/11's not real. I'm like, you do realize like another person we're camping with like lost a family member in it, right?
Oh my God. Well,
Like,
they were actors. Clearly they were actors.
Conclusion.
Was it just apropos of nothing? Like just, hey, 9/11?
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere and we're like, what? What is happening?
When
And
a
then
family
he just went
friend
around and
reveals
was
his
like
stripes.
telling everyone else how 9/11 wasn't real. And then of course the girl whose her dad died in it. I don't know if he was on the plane or I think he was in the plane.
Oh wow.
And because he was like coming back from a business trip, I think it was.
Oh, that's sad.
So she was very upset about this. I'm like, yeah. So in thinking of different topics and having different conspiracy theories I want to go through, this kind of came up. So that's how I got to that one. And
that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I did not want to do it anywhere in September because I feel like that's just not really the time.
Yeah, and that kind of actually brings me to our pairings for tonight, because I wanted to do something that was sort of an homage, but I wanted to be careful about like how we did this, and I don't know if this is going to be very appropriate or not, but I was trying to think of things that represented like true Americana, just the heart of the country. And to me, it reminds, like 9/11 reminds me of school. I was in 10th grade when everything occurred. And looking back, even though I was a little older, it still for some reason makes me think of summer, because it was in the fall, but it's the earliest part of school. So you're still kind of in summer mode, and it makes me think of ice cream and biking around with friends. And we would always stop at a local park like concession stand, and we would get Twin Pops. And I always got root beer flavor. So for this week, the treat is just classic Twin Pops, and they're just as good as I remember. They're so simple, but they're delicious.
Yeah, they are. I also grabbed a root beer one for today because it screamed America to me.
Yeah, it's because I was in the freezer section too, and I was looking at them, and I remember them coming in like cherry, like orange.
And grape.
Yeah, yeah, and then usually a variety pack, and I would always eat the root beer ones first. And oddly enough, at the store I went to just this week, it was only cherry, and then I found one box of root beer way in the back, and I was like, "Oh, thank God!" I'm like, I didn't even know they made box of just root beer, but that's the one I
Yeah,
got.
they changed the way ours are because we always had it where it was the cherry, orange, and grape. And then there was a second one that was banana, root beer, and lime. But now they just put it in like this big bag with the lime, root beer, and banana.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I think you're right. Yeah, I do remember it being that kind of weird. So you had to. I don't think a lot of us were fans of lime and banana. You know they
I
use
love the
root beer.
banana.
Oh, really?
I do. I really like the banana.
You
The
weirdo.
lime, I know. The lime, I'm not as big of a fan of. I'll eat it, but it's not like my favorite. My favorite
Oh,
is banana and root beer.
interesting. Yeah, no, because my assumption was that they always used the root because like you've got your cherry, your like orange and grape, and they're like classic. They're all pretty much solid flavors. Maybe orange has a
Yeah.
little less flavor, whatever. But it's like then you come down to lime, banana, and root beer, and it's like I always assumed they were just using the root beer to sell the lime and banana because I would the root beer was always gone first. But when you eat runts, do you eat runts at all? The
Hmm?
like
Not, I haven't in like a while, but yeah.
do you eat the banana first?
I So I'm a weirdo and I like to save the thing I like for last.
Okay.
So I'll save it for the last thing I eat because it's the thing I like the most.
But I was gonna say, what I'm really asking is banana your favorite out of the runts?
I want to say it might be strawberry, but I do really like the banana.
Okay, good answer. Because banana is bizarre. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just, but strawberry. I mean, I think most people would agree. The strawberry out of runts is just
Yes.
phenomenal.
I mean,
It's kind of always the best flavor out of anything, like Starburst,
yeah.
Skittles. I guess I'm not sure what Skittles flavors are, but the pink one.
Yeah, I want to say it is strawberry, the red one. But then they have
Good
like all
point.
the different tropical ones.
I
And
do like tropical Skittles. They are
they do,
very good.
they're good. But
They're not
yeah,
as yeah, they're not as
I'm a
easily
fan of
found, but they're
banana.
very good.
They are.
Banana, you're a banana kid. That's so weird.
Yeah. Well, I really like banana Laffy Taffy. Like that's my favorite flavor is the banana.
Really? Oh man, we are not paired properly for this podcast. Your flavor profile is on a whole
I
different
love
swing.
banana.
Oh, we would throw the banana runts at kids that we didn't like. That's how we're like, eat this, you stupid bastard. They're so gross.
Oh, that's funny.
So, we didn't actually do that, but we did make fun of them because it's weird.
I like the
So,
banana. Don't know what to
speaking
tell
of
you.
speaking of things that are weird and that no one should like, that brings us to our drink pair, which I do want to make sort of a caveat here that I am the kind of person, and maybe people will make fun of me. I'll put my own weirdishness out there. I'm the kind of person like on pizza, I much prefer sausage. I tend to not be within the normal thing that is like the number one thing in America. And as far as I know, pepperoni is the number one American pizza topping. I don't think it's disgusting, but it's so greasy and it's just sort of
It's gotta be
spiced
the
with.
right pepperoni.
That's true. Yeah, there is
There are
good
some that are
pepperoni.
really good, and then some where you're like, what is this?
Yeah, and I think most of the big chains don't get the best pepperoni. That's probably fair to say. It's like
Yeah.
salami that went bad or pastrami that went bad or something. But similar to my dislike of the number one American pizza topping, I am blown away by what is the number one American beer. And so this is not my choice of what I would want to drink, but for this particular episode, I felt the need to go kind of again like within the Americana realm and what is the number one beer in America. So, ladies and gentlemen, this week Oh, we're drinking Bud Light. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm.
Oh, Bud Light.
Oh
It
my
is. There is a reason people take Bud Light and Coors skiing. I'm going to tell you
God.
that right now.
It's
Because
so bad.
this is the beer that you could chug on the ski lift and feel nothing. Unless you're coming from like a low altitude, then it's like enough to give you a little something because
Yeah.
the altitude, but for
Right.
no other reason.
Oh my God. Much like the Twin Pops, it has been a long time since I've had Bud Light, and oof, less good memories are coming back to me right now than with the Twin Pop. I'll just say that.
The
Oh
college
wow.
drunken nights of
Well,
Bud
and
Light.
it's yeah, because it's one of those things where when, especially your earlier years, all it is about is efficiency. You want to get the most cheapest beer you can get because you're all on a budget. You've got a house full of party goers. You just need to. You don't even necessarily need to get people drunk. You just need to get them drinks. And
Yeah,
while the college staple, I think, is Natty Ice, Bud Light is a pretty close contender. And
yeah.
in the decades following, I have certainly expanded my palate for beer considerably.
Yes.
And right
Ooh.
now, I have some left hand nitro milk stout in the fridge with some
Oh, you got
Guinness.
that with your name on it for after?
Exactly. I was going to have that ready after the Bud Light, but I have some brandy on ice to pair with the Bud, basically, because wow, I don't mean to diss anybody who's listening whose Bud Light is your favorite. Far be it from me to come down on anyone who has their favorite, but I do not like this
Not
beer.
your favorite, and that is okay.
Like, I had my rating for this beer ready to go before I even messaged you about what we were going to do.
Totally.
And I wish I could rate it even less now. I
Oh
did.
dear.
It's so bad. It's just. Anyway.
Yeah.
But enough
Yeah.
preamble. Let's get to the heart of this American disaster and talk about some wild conspiracy theories.
Yes. So, our sources for this week is Wikipedia, BBC, 911memorial.org, and more Wikipedia. The specific articles I looked at was 911 conspiracy theories, failure of imagination, and the 9/11 truth movement.
Oh boy.
So,
It's a
um,
movement.
as you stated earlier, during 9/11, you were in 10th grade.
Mhm.
I was in first grade.
Really? Oh
Yes.
my
I
God. Okay.
show a little difference there. I was in first grade, and I actually remember being up like really early this day for whatever reason, because as a child, I like to wake up at like 4 in the morning,
Oh
get
wow.
ready, and like watch cartoons at like 6 a.m., as children
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, I did this morning and was like, the news is on every
Oh.
channel. Like, what is this?
Oh,
Kind of
you
like
know,
not really understanding what was happening, but that was weird
yeah.
that the news was on every channel. And I distinctly remember being at school and they wouldn't let us go outside like for recess. And we're like, oh, we have to stay inside. And
Mm-hmm.
my mom swears up and down that we didn't go to school. And I'm like, no, I remember we were all disappointed because my classmate had his birthday and his
Oh.
mom couldn't get in the school to bring us cupcakes. And we kept being like, are we going to get cupcakes? Like, is she coming? And he's like, she should be. And I'm like, oh, we were probably like bothering him about it all day. And then like he's upset that like his mom couldn't bring us the cupcakes. She brought him in the next day, and
Oh,
that was
that's nice.
fine. But
This
like,
makes me think of two things just in because I didn't realize that you were quite that much younger than me. But it
It's
makes me think
almost
of
10 years.
yeah. It makes me think of two different things. Of one being just how immature I was because I was in my second year of high school. One would hope that you have a certain level of maturity, but I distinctly remember the news being on the TVs in all of our classrooms, and me and my friends mostly just being like, so like, can we go home? Or like we had no idea what
No.
was really happening. We just knew that school wasn't really going on. And so we were like, if we're not going
Yeah.
to do school, can we go? Like we had no real concept. Like I feel like I should have been plugged in a little bit more, but we didn't really pay attention.
Yeah.
But also when you mentioned the cartoons thing, I just realized that a lot of kids born after us are going to be in the streaming age. So they won't have that experience of like you're trying to watch your favorite cartoon and every channel, regardless of what their main demographic is just showing coverage on that kind of a thing because it's a national
Yeah.
story. It's an
Yeah. It
international
was
story. Yeah.
really important at the time. And yeah, I do remember like us sitting in our classroom and it was almost like we were in like a lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of not really. Like we couldn't go and like be in certain areas of the classroom because they're like, no, like we're gonna stay over here. Like we're reading a story together and we're doing this. And we're like, but I want to play with the toys on the other side of the room by the windows. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, children, stay over here.
It was kind of a weird gray area of things happening because I do remember having that sense of no one really knowing what's going on because
Hmm.
a lot of people genuinely thought that like this isn't just going to be localized to this area. Like it's
Yeah.
starting here, but a lot of people assumed it was going to be a national like sweep of attacks, which, you know, you have to admit with the little information you have going on, especially right away that morning, everybody's just like, what the hell's going on? So it is kind of interesting that they're sort of secretly trying to be like, hey, let's stay away from the windows just in case, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And for us, I do remember people being worried about the airport because we have like the small Eagle Airport right in the area. And
Oh
that
yeah.
was because American Airlines is one of the main airlines that actually flies out of that airport.
Oh boy, I bet all of that was a bad time for American Airlines. Were both the planes
Yeah.
American Airlines?
It was American Airlines and I believe it was United.
That rings
Yes.
a bell.
United and American Airlines.
Oof. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
I get the feeling that especially back then, it's one of those things where it could have happened to any airline, but
Yeah.
just being one of the airlines is not going to be a good time.
No. No. And with that being said, before we get into the actual theory and
Mhm.
conspiracy, I'm going to talk about some of the facts.
Okay.
Just
Give us a
get
little
some of that out there.
groundwork. Yeah, a base
Yes.
to start from.
Yes, the stuff people like to ignore for these theories.
Yeah, facts. Right.
So, number one being that Al Qaeda suicide operatives hijacked two American airline flights and a United flight, which was United Airlines Flight 175, American Airline Flight 11, which are the two that hit the Twin Towers. Then American Airline Flight 77, which hit the Pentagon. And then
Oh
United
yeah.
Airlines Flight 93, which didn't actually make it into any physical structures, but it was taken down into a field in Pennsylvania, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's the one they made a movie about it. Like the people essentially took over the plane from the hijackers. Is
Yes,
yeah.
they
Okay,
did.
right. I forgot there were four of them.
Yeah, and there's oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was a podcast I listened to recently, and I'll see if I can find it at some point and like share it on social media where they talk about that flight specifically and a lot of the stuff that has been done in memorial to that flight specifically. And it's actually really interesting.
I was going to say, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. And with that flight specifically, because it was one of the last planes to go down, they had more information. So I want to say, people being people and being like, I'm not going to turn my phone off on this airplane.
Yeah.
You know, someone got a message that something happened to these other flights and they're like, oh my God, this is happening to ours. And tried to work with that.
That's true. And it kind of gives you an eerie thought that like you would almost want to be on the first plane just because you wouldn't have any idea of what's going on. So you're not expecting anything really bad to happen because at that time you just I can't speak for what it was like to actually be there, but I imagine most people were just like, oh, we're going over New York. That's cool. And I can imagine in the later planes, just having more information would be terrifying.
Yeah. And unfortunately, with these attacks, there were a lot of things that were ignored, and there was a pretty poor lack of communication with different intelligence agencies and just kind of this, what they call the failure of imagination, which is that something undesirable but also pretty predictable happening. And then in hindsight being like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, of course that would have happened type of thing.
That's comforting.
Yeah. Like, and then it's a lot of bureaucracy in there.
Yeah. And I suppose at a certain level, at least, it's easy to look back, especially now, and judge. But at the time, it was such an unprecedented kind of thing that it's kind of easy for them to be like, what? Some terrorists hijacked the... Well, that's ridiculous. Come on. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That can't possibly be a credible threat. That's bullshit. This is America. Nobody can take our planes. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And then it's kind of like how everything before 9/11, you could go up to the gate of an airplane, not have a ticket, not have to go through like security or all that, and like have to have those things to get through.
Right.
And that completely changing and being like, you're not getting past this security checkpoint unless you have a boarding pass for somewhere.
Yeah, like it totally changes. I mean, you look back at certain movies and there's that trope of like meeting someone at their gate right as they're walking off the plane and they're like, oh my God, that's absolutely a thing of the past.
Now.
Yeah, because you can't just go into where the gates are past security. I mean, security basically didn't even exist back then.
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a thing.
At least certainly not in the way that we think of it today.
Yeah, I mean, I was also 6 when this happened, so I only flew a handful of times that I can remember before this, so I can't entirely say, like, from my own personal experience, what that actually looked like.
Right. No, for sure. In fact, yeah, I think at that time I had literally flown once, and I was like 8, maybe 10.
Yeah. Did a lot of driving instead.
I do like driving. Oh, road trips are fun.
They are.
This whole episode is just an advertisement. It's like a PSA just to say like, hey, why don't we drive more? Come on, everybody.
With the cost of gas? No.
Oh, well.
No. I mean, it has gone down, but like, oh.
Yeah. I'm saying, come on, people. Let's boost the economy. Get out there and spend money on gas. Let's drive. It's summer. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Gas prices are coming down.
Gas should not be as expensive as it is. And I stand by that.
Expensive. In fact, I was actually shocked because I just filled up my car literally an hour before we were going to record this on my way home. And I realized it was like $42. I have a pretty small tank and it wasn't even empty. But the time I had filled it up before then, I was just happy it was under 50 because the last time I filled it up, it was like $62. brought
Ooh.
fumes, and it was at the peak. And yeah, today I'm like, hey, it's really coming down. And then I realized, oh yeah, 6 months ago I probably filled it up for like $25. Like, ugh,
Yeah, yeah.
not
I
great.
I put gas in my car yesterday and it was $4.39 per gallon at Costco.
Yowza.
So very considering that it was like almost up to $5, we were
Yeah.
everyone was like raging about it here because we're like, I will not pay $5.
Yeah, yeah. It is one strange advantage of being in the Midwest. We have a lot of oil derricks out here, and a lot of, I think Iowa in particular does a lot of petroleum refining,
Mhm.
and so we actually have some stations around here that are already like 390 or something. So it's coming
Ooh.
down, but even still, like I said, like beginning of the year, I think it was 290 something.
Yeah,
Still up there a ways.
it is. So going back to our topic,
Mm,
9/11 was carried out in 4 different attacks by Al Qaeda, which is an Islamic extremist group. And this occurred, as we've mentioned, on the morning of September 11th, 2001 at, I want to say it was like around 8:15 in the morning. It was in New
mm.
York time. So for where I live, it was 6 in the morning. Where you are, it was 7,
Okay, yeah.
roughly. And I'm not sure if they picked the date on purpose. This is something I'm still kind of vague on because
Right.
it is ironically also the number for our emergency line 911.
Yeah. It I mean I suppose it could, because that date doesn't really seem to hold, beyond that it doesn't seem to really hold any other significance. It's
Yeah,
like between Labor Day and
it's just
Halloween
kind of a random
essentially.
day
Yeah.
otherwise, but
The only other thing I can think of is they know that like certain schools start and stop the year at different times, so they know by the second
around
week of
this date,
September, yeah, like
they're
every
all
school
in
is going to be
school.
in session. I don't know.
Mhm.
I get the
And
feeling it was just kind of random.
yeah, I think it was, but I do think that there is a bit of irony in
Hmm.
that. There was
Yeah,
a
if it wasn't
total
planned, it's certainly an interesting coincidence.
It is. It really is. There was a total of 19 terrorists that hijacked 4 commercial airlines deliberately, crashing them into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and then a field on its way to DC. The plane was en route to DC, but I don't know if
Right.
they hijacked it like too early or either way, it was not successful in hitting anything but was crashed into a field.
Yeah. The intervention of the passengers prevented it from being successful.
Yes. And the attacks themselves killed a total of 2,977 people from 93 nations in total.
Oh, yeah.
That was 2,753 people in New York, just either in the towers, in the plane, or just people on the street getting hit with debris.
Jesus, yeah.
There were 184 people killed at the Pentagon, and then 40 people on flight 93 when it
Right.
yes. And I will say there are some really amazing documentaries and stuff out there for 9/11. I want to say ABC did a special on like the 20-year anniversary this last year,
Yeah, I think
and
you're right.
I cannot find it anywhere because I only watched like part of it, and the whole thing was just absolutely chilling to listen to everyone just talk about like, yeah, I was on like the 80 something floor and somehow managed to make it down and survive.
Yeah, I
It
think it
just
was on.
oh,
Yeah, I think I watched like 10 minutes of it a while back, and then I had to uh, go meet some friends or something.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it was on Hulu for a while. It might still be on Hulu. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think they
Either
aired it
way,
once on
watch it.
broadcast television. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Like you said, chilling.
Yes. And that's kind of just a pretty shallow dive. You could talk about this for hours,
Oh yeah.
but we don't have the time, and I don't feel that it necessarily does any good for our story today, since it is
Yeah,
more common knowledge.
yeah,
Modern
the
history.
information is out there. Most of the people who would be listening to this know what we're talking about already. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not a super old historical thing. You're like, I've never heard of this before.
Right. Yeah, just about
Most
everyone
people
who
know this.
yeah, I think it's fair to say anyone who's in the era of like knowing what a podcast is, knowing how to get them and where they listen,
Yep.
like anyone who's listening to this already has like their own podcast platform that they're used to using. So they're young enough
Yeah.
that they lived through this.
Yes. Yes. Or should we say old enough? Because I know
No, because
there.
we don't. Because I'm just saying, because like I don't want to say that because I feel like that ages me.
It's
So
it's
can we just?
it's a mix of both.
It is.
I'm gonna say that. It's a mix of young enough to understand podcasting, but yet old enough to actually remember this.
As a person who's like nearing the point of being able to be called middle age, I'm gonna just say let's go with young.
Young,
So
yes.
yeah,
The youths, as I like to say, the youths.
the youths. Yeah, I still count myself amongst the youths. Although,
Yeah.
real quick aside, when I
You
started
say it
working,
like that, I don't know if it works as
the
well.
youths.
The youths.
The when I started working at the post office, it was the last job, or it was the first job I had where I wasn't like knowingly the youngest person there. I was always used to being like,
Really?
yeah, because I had, or technically it was one of my last years when I was working at the Supreme Court in St. Paul. We had like a number of people join, and they were kind of at like intern level, and I was used to being in my 20s and just being the youngest person in an office. And then I
Yeah.
realized I was about to turn 30, and they were like, "I'm 24," and I'm like, "Oh no, the tide has
Yeah.
turned." Oh
That
shit.
was, I know that feeling. That was me at my last job where I suddenly went from being one of the youngest people in the office to like one of the oldest people in the office. It's
Oh
like,
wow. Although that is a bit of a stark contrast to where I work now at the post office. Just like a lot of the people that work there are lifers who have already been there for like 20 years. But I suppose you
yeah.
worked at more of like a tech thing, or at least
I
doing
was
tech
at, it was a
stuff.
nonprofit that I was at, my last job. And
Nonprofits are trendy. A lot of
they,
youngsters fresh out of college want to go work there.
a lot of youngsters. So
Hopefuls,
in a
yeah.
way it made sense because like after at that point, like I had been there for a while and then we had new hires. So I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, but like, wow.
It is, yeah, it is a strange sort of psychological twist where you're like, oh no, I'm not automatically like by default the young person.
Yeah. I had that at Starbucks, but when I was like one of the older people, I was still like in the middle.
Right. Well, at Starbucks, it's usually a lot of high schoolers. So it's
Oh,
like
the
it
high
makes sense
schoolers.
that
Yep.
that would be an odd experience to be like you're the old person, but you're still like easily mid or early 20s. And you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
feel so old. I had a buddy who worked at a Caribou, and he has told me multiple times a story about he was like pushing 30 and working with mostly high schoolers, and I don't remember the exact scenario, but I remember him saying he told them to go get the landline, and they just looked at him like,
I like,
what? He's like, the phone in the office, and they're like, what? And they're like, the thing that's attached to the wall that's on the desk, like the landline. And they had no idea what because they're just so used to cell phones. It's
oh
kind
my
of the same
God.
thing as like you were talking about with like the commercial, or not the commercials, but the breaking news breaking into your cartoons.
Yeah.
They have literally no concept of that because it doesn't
It's
happen.
not a thing that
Yeah,
happens
it just,
anymore.
and I remember him texting me, and I'm like, even getting into our 30s, I've never felt as old as I do right now. Like growing up with the
That
idea of
makes
a
me
landline
feel
phone.
old. Like,
Yeah,
wow. I physically
Yeah.
have a landline on my desk right now.
Really? In your home?
My office
What?
phone is a landline.
Oh, although don't you work from home?
I do.
Okay. Is that a work phone? Or is that
Yes.
your okay.
It
Well,
is a
that's
work. It's not my phone, but I do physically have a landline
that
at
is
my
still
house
weird.
in my
Yeah.
office.
That is interesting. Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It is.
Landlines. Yeah, I
It's
mean the last
scary.
time I had my own like personal landline phone was in college, and it was just because the whole college was already hooked in with it, you know?
Yep.
And by the time we moved out, we all just had not
Had phones.
necessarily we just yeah, we had phones in our pockets. We didn't need them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a long
Anyway, off on
tangent.
our
Sorry.
tangents today. It's
Yeah. Well, it's
fine.
been a while. Yeah.
It has. It has. So, our first theory and the overarching theme. So, we have
Mhm.
like a few themes and then we'll get into like little subgroups.
Okay.
Is that people let it happen on purpose.
Yeah.
A big
Yeah.
theme.
I was gonna say that's probably one of the I can't necessarily say if it's the most prevalent, but it's certainly the one I've heard the most. That it was like sort of an
Yeah.
inside job, or at the
Hmm.
very least that information was known and nothing was done.
Yes. That is the biggest one is that individuals in the government had at least some sort of foreknowledge of the attacks and deliberately ignored it, or
Hmm.
that they actively weakened United States defenses to ensure that this was not interrupted,
Hmm. Right.
and that in some shape or form they wanted to let this happen and they wanted it to be successful, which oddly enough is also something that was talked about after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah. I did not know that until now. So, or until I researched.
Although,
And
yeah, now that you
yeah,
mention it, I do remember hearing. I think one of my friends told me in like middle school they talked about how it was just really coincidental that they had like moved certain new ships away from the harbor, and so when they attacked it wasn't as devastating a blow as
as
Japan
it
thought it
could
would
have
be or something.
been.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And they're like, wow, isn't that weird? And it's like, it could just be a coincidence. And
Just a coincidence,
right,
generally.
it does kind of go to show that no matter what era you're in, how much technology you have, people still just want to search for something that isn't necessarily there.
Yeah. And one of the biggest, I guess, things supporting this argument is that in some shape or form, people were benefiting off of this event
Oh,
happening,
okay.
with the biggest being suspected insider trading, which is actually something we did see leading up to the rise of COVID back in 2020. Is
Oh,
that government officials and people have actually been like charged and persecuted for this. They
oh,
had some
really?
knowledge that there was this virus that was spreading really quickly. It was affecting a lot of people. So they then, in turn, took that knowledge, went to the stock market, and invested their money in medical companies like Pfizer and Moderna and Janssen and Janssen,
Okay.
Janssen, all of
Chance.
that.
I
There
have to
is a
admit,
medical company called Janssen.
okay.
That's not like a weird thing I'm throwing out there. It is real.
I'll admit I wasn't gonna say anything, but I don't really know. Like the thing that did come to mind was Johnson and Johnson. I'm like, I've never heard of Janssen and
Yeah.
Janssen, but I'm not. I don't know.
Johnson J&J.
Right, exactly. I I I've honestly never heard of that. It makes perfect sense, but I never realized that people have actually been prosecuted and all whatnot for that already. But that even goes
Yeah.
back to 9/11.
Yes. And there are definitely some things that are odd about this.
Mm,
I wouldn't necessarily say that it is like the driving factor,
right.
but it has been noted that there were some pretty odd anomalies in just different areas in finance, like the stock market, insurance companies, defense contractor things, brokerage firms.
Right. Oh yeah, I could definitely see defense contractors being a thing. If you notice a lot of movement towards like defense contractors right before 9/11, that would be kind of a red flag.
Yes. And one of these extraordinary things was a lot of people were selling assets in what they call put options, which is selling an asset at a specific price. So when it reaches a specific price, it'll like sell.
Oh yeah.
And that was for both United Airlines and American Airlines, which was
Ugh.
suggesting that people who owned their stocks knew something was coming and then pulled all their shares.
Yeah.
So their stock rates plummeted, but people are making tons of money off of it because they sold everything right before this major accident and then everything just tanked.
Yeah. So yeah, it heavily implies that they knew something was about to come and they're like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, they're like, I'm not going to stick around for this.
Honestly, of all the bits of conspiracy theories I've heard about 9/11, that's probably the most compelling because like
This is the one I believe the most.
yeah, follow the money. That it's like that makes total sense where they're like because if you watch certain things where they're talking about the beams wouldn't melt at this heat or whatever and like you could see
We'll get into
explosions.
that.
I was going to say I don't want to jump ahead too much, but there are certain things that sound like someone really reaching for something and it's like no, yeah, the stock market thing that really makes the most sense. Like if they saw this coming, they're like, oh, we know these airlines are about to tank, so we're going to get the hell out.
Yeah, and it could very much be that people were seeing this writing on the wall with going back to that failure of imagination, where they're seeing like, yeah, we definitely think that this could happen. These people are really angry and just it all kind of happening at the same time.
Right. It could sort of just be a
Coincidentally,
coincidence.
that could happen. I'm not saying that couldn't be an option, but this is the one that I would say is the most compelling, just considering how much of it was happening.
Well, and there's also a possibility, I don't know how much like you delved into it, but it's possible that like people were getting out of airlines in general. So maybe you would see a trend of like Delta and I don't know if Alaska existed then, but like all of these airlines, maybe a lot of people were dumping their shares from all of these airlines. It just so happens that most people focus on United and American at that time because it's like, well, those were the ones. So
those are the really big airlines at the time. Like I know there were other airlines, but those are definitely the ones I remember being around then. Because I know like Southwest is a newer airline in the last like since 9/11. It is also noted that just in general, there was a lot of unusual market activity in the days leading up to 9/11.
Okay.
I feel like that's just kind of a bit of a coincidence that just sometimes things happen.
One that feels like coincidence.
Like, oh, weird. Okay.
Maybe that's even a trend that happens every fall. So it's like as schools go back into service and
people aren't flying and vacationing as much.
Yeah, exactly. So it just happens to be a time of the year when that tends to fluctuate and whatnot.
Yeah, that is very possible.
But I also don't know. So maybe it was a complete anomaly.
Yes. There was a big rise in those put option ratios for both American and American and United, not Delta, airlines, to the point where there was a record exchange in the Chicago boards, where they had it based in Chicago. And it was a total of 4,744 of those put option contracts on just United Airlines.
Oh, wow.
And then almost 400 more like in the next day.
Yeah. Okay, I mean that is a bit more compelling, like the idea that it is literally record-setting trading going on.
Yeah, and they saw similar numbers for American Airlines on September 10th.
Hmm.
So United was September 6th and 7th, and then American was on the 10th.
Interesting.
But
All right.
the thing that makes it weirder is that this didn't happen to any other airline.
Okay, now, oh, see, now you got me. Now I'm in.
No, I gotcha. Yeah,
Now I'm in.
so I'm actually answering your question from earlier.
You are. I was gonna say, son of a bitch, you set me up. Yeah. Now, okay. Now I'm
It
already
did not,
leaning towards this is all real.
yes,
Does
and
not take a lot.
the 9/11 Commission did conclude that the patterns were weird, and they're like, yeah,
Hmm.
that's odd, but did not actually conclude that any sort of insider trading or criminal activity was happening.
Yeah. So they still conclude that like it's intriguing, but potentially still just a coincidence.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you also saw this with insurance companies, and that a
Oh.
lot of people were buying more travelers insurance.
Hmm.
And Citigroup specifically had about 500 million in claims from the attack for
Holy
insurance
shit.
payouts.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I
So
also don't really know anything about the scale of insurance claims, so maybe that's not that much. I don't, but that's definitely sounds like a lot.
they had a lot. And then in the days, like the 3 days leading up to 9/11, they had 45 times the normal volume for life insurance policies
Okay,
and like
that is
travelers
creepy.
insurance during
Yeah.
those days right before 9/11, which is, I feel like that's just very odd.
That is like killing your spouse level weird, where they're
Yeah.
like they, one week prior they took out five, life insurance policies for 3,000 whatever. Oh,
They
that's not
took
very
out a
much.
new insurance policy for $4 million a week before their spouse was found
Yeah,
dead or their
yeah, I don't
spouse
know
went missing. You're like, the husband did it. The husband did it.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know why I went to 3,000 unless it's like 1885 or something.
Uh, That's still a lot of
4 million
money to
makes sense.
me.
Three, yeah, I could use 3 grand. It's just,
Yes.
but yeah, that is certainly interesting that just that many more dollars were being put towards insurance claims or
Yeah.
like policies right before a major disaster.
Yes. The defense contractor Raytheon had an abnormal amount of like call options and purchases on September 10th. They had 6 times their normal numbers,
Oh, weird.
which it was a total of 232 contracts. So I feel like they're not getting tons of stuff generally. Like they're getting some good stuff, but not like hundreds.
Yeah. So it's abnormal, but not necessarily suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a few brokerage firms like Fidelity Investments and TD Waterhouse had $5 million in profits with all of these trades.
Wow.
Yes.
That definitely overshadows my 3,000 from earlier. That's a lot.
It is a lot of money. Again, with the investigation of the 9/11 committee, they saw that like there was some weird stuff. It was suspected that Al Qaeda was doing some potential insider trading, which I'm not entirely sure how that works when you dabble into other international stock markets.
Well, I don't know.
That's
I'm not sure why
You're
that's
such
so
a
funny.
simp, but that one is such a stretch to me.
It also just sounds like him sort of diversifying his terrorism in the sense of like, all right, we're going to send some people on planes. We're also going to play with their stock market a little bit. Just in,
Profit like
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, just in case the whole taking over planes, the hijacking plan doesn't go well, we're gonna get them on the money side. We're gonna get them.
We'll at least make a good buck out of it.
Yeah, we're gonna take those American dollars. We're gonna feed them back into Al Qaeda. We're getting it on both ends here, guys.
Yeah, so that is the main driving force behind the let it happen on purpose. You're benefiting from insider trading. Why stop them?
Yeah,
You're making lots of money.
oddly enough, they're getting all through college, and as like YouTube was rising and stuff, I don't think I ever heard that side of it. That one really does make the most sense.
It actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't like that it makes sense.
No, well, and it also it's probably the best reason to let it happen, in the sense that like they have the most to gain from letting it happen.
Yeah.
Like they literally have millions, maybe even billions of dollars overall to gain from this tragedy. So they're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll get rid of our stock. We'll make a shitload of money. Right. Yeah. That is, I think I'm now a conspiracy theorist. I wasn't before, but I think this is the first time where I'm like, oh my God, it really is all just planned, wasn't it? Or at least known.
That might change.
Okay.
These other
Yes. All right. Now we're getting into the fun stuff.
We're going most realistic to what the fuck.
Perfect. That's my wheelhouse.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode. You can find us on Patreon. Just search for Peculiar Pairings. You can find us on Instagram at peculiarpairingspod. And on Twitter at the same handle at peculiarpairpod. You can also send us emails, message us with your ideas, all that fun stuff at peculiarpairingspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you listeners. And again, we will be back next week with part 2 of this episode. We'll see you next week.